get his attention.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KFTX.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat Thunderous Thursday, we like to call it, here in good old sunny Fresno, California. Coming to you from the bunker embedded deep inside Manchester Center, otherwise known as the Fortress KXEX Radio.
The best talk. Oh, go ahead.
The best
Talk
in
town.
Yeah, baby.
Write it down.
We're not good improvisers.
We're not. We would do horrible improv. I don't know.
Hey, life is just one big improv.
Amen.
Is it not?
Amen.
You try to write your script. Life is not a scripted show.
Amen.
It is the ultimate reality show, improv.
Oh,
you better
man.
be ready. Expect the unexpected. Be ready to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Yeah, you can just go on and on. If you don't figure that out and realize that, hey, you know, what is true today is not true tomorrow, and deal with it as knowing that what seems like chaos appears like chaos.
Yeah.
All the world is actually God's perfect plan working out. Hard to grasp that sometimes, but it's true.
God has a sense of humor. You know, he's just laughing up there sometimes. He's just looking down and like,
Well, I think he was laughing at me last night because I got.
What'd you do?
Well, I played pro football, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the NFL stood for not for long for me, and I had a great career going.
How many games did you play? You never.
Oh God, I don't want to count them. I probably on one hand. Well, I started 3. I started 3 games.
That's more than
That's
a lot
all-
of QBs.
Well, that's all the team needed to know that I made a better actor than a quarterback for them. But you get beat up, whether it's in practice, scrimmages, a tough sport. And but I tell you, last night, I tell you, the old adage, "Don't judge a book by its cover," that is so true. The truth of that saying really came home to me last night when I made a really big mistake by judging a tiny book by its cover. I was achy, tired. I like to get, do you get massages?
No.
Oh God, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just kind of feel. Ugh,
Jeremy, do you
weird.
get massages? You don't? What,
Yeah.
Guys, what is wrong with you? My son's a 26-year-old guy. He didn't get them. I bought him his first
Changed his
massage.
life.
Oh, changed his life. You need to have one.
We trying to
Much as
say
you-
you think I'm wound up.
As much as you got going on, you need to find yourself a good masseuse, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just personally don't like a guy touching my body. I female person.
Why
I
not?
stay covered up. Well, there's nothing wrong. The best masseuses are guys.
So you discriminate
Huh?
against your
No,
mis-
let's move past it. Let me tell you the story.
Oh, good.
I'm just being honest with folks. It's just my weirdness. It has nothing to do. Again, most of the best are men. But there was a massage place real close to where we live, and my son went to it. He said it was great.
The one in Fit Garden?
Close.
Okay,
to
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I go over there, and the only one on duty, they come out, is a little, it was Thai massage, a little old lady, looked to be mid-60s if she was a day. And I'm not exaggerating here at all. She's 75 pounds if she's an ounce. I mean, she's as big as my little thing. And I like what they call deep tissue massage. And I said, is there somebody here that's strong? I strong?
You said it in front of her?
Yeah, I said, no. I said, do you have somebody that can do deep tissue? She goes, I strong. I said, well, I know, but I mean, I really, big guy. I strong. I strong. You do, man, I strong. I go, oh, all right. There's nobody else on duty there. So I get back there, I get ready, and I hear the door open. And then she puts, she got the blanket over she starts with her little hands on my shoulders, and it's just like more of a nuisance than anything. It's just like, oh gosh, I got an hour of this, rubbing. I didn't realize that was kind of the warm-up for practice. She stopped doing that. And then all of a sudden, this little old lady, 75 pounds, jumps up on my back like Spider-Man.
Like on your back?
She jumps up on my back like I said, like Spider-Man. She's up on there, and all of a sudden, it's not hands rubbing me, it's her feet. She's standing on my back, and she starts with my calves, and she walks on my calves. So every step she takes, she's digging her toes in there. And my calf, I'm going, he gets a hamstring up to the back. Now, mind you, it's an ego thing. I've had some really deep tissue massages from really strong, muscular women, and I've never tapped out. I've never said that's too hard. I've gritted my teeth. It's part of ego. I don't want them to say, because what I'm afraid of is I'm hurting you. They're going to overcompensate and be really light.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process, whether it's right or wrong. So I don't tap out. But she kept going with those feet. Then she jumps down, and I'm breathing hard by now. I'm like, okay, great. Then boom, elbow right here in this trapezius. She's digging these tiny little pointy elbows deep into my trap, and I'm fuck. Anyway, 60 minutes of this stuff. Now I come home, walk through the door. Wife said, "How was your massage?" I go, "It was great, honey." But she beat the living daylights out of me. My wife's like, this little woman, I described it to my wife. And I tell you, any football player who's played, I'd say even college football, maybe even high school football. I don't remember being as sore in high school as I was in college and pro. But in pro football, waking up after a game and literally can't even hardly get out of bed. So sore. I was more sore this morning getting out of bed from that little 65-year-old, 75-pound Thai massage specialist. She beat me from top to bottom. And I'm still dragging in here, like I've been through. Anyway, tip of the hat to this.
You going to go back to her?
I don't know. I think I need to, just to prove to myself she didn't win.
What did she tell you afterwards?
Well, I think she read me, I think.
Yeah.
I think she read me. I could tell by her attitude. She didn't speak much English, hardly at all, other than say, "I strong." And then I couldn't help. I felt myself kind of doing body language. I didn't say anything, of course. I don't hurt anybody's feelings. But my body language was like, "Yeah, right. You're strong." And I think she took it personal.
Yeah, she did.
I really do. I think she's going to show this big old white dude who's boss. And just moral of the story, do not judge a book by its cover, or it might be a very painful experience for you.
I thought it was going to be a metaphor for Joe Biden.
Huh?
I thought it was going to be a metaphor.
She'd kill Joe Biden.
No, I meant like
Joe Biden.
Look at Joe, you're like, he's old, and all of a sudden he just does a bunch of good stuff.
No, first of all, if he's in there, Joe would have to sniff the hair. Then he would actually, no, he could not have taken it. Nobody, I barely take it. I'm 71. A few years from now, I wouldn't have been able to take it either. But I comfort myself in knowing that your average 40-year-old, 30-year-old could probably not take that either. If I didn't know better, if she wasn't so pleasant, I think she was mean.
Yeah.
But she's not. She's so pleasant. She was just going to show me I strong.
You should have said when you left, you was very strong.
I am. So I'm going to go back, but I'm going to get ready. I'm going to go just like this. Okay, bring it on. Let's go again. I got to prove that I can take it knowing what's coming.
You're going to call me and say...
willfully knowing what's coming, that this beating's coming. Can I handle it? Because I was already on the table, and I probably had 3 or 4 times I'm thinking, I should just tap out. I'm 71. What's my ego? I tap out and say, hey, that's too hard. The only one's going to know it is her. And me, she can't speak English. She can't spread it around to anyplace else except the rest of the Thai community. And if I run for office, they're not a big demographic. They can't spread it around that I'm such a wimp. So these things are going through. So I'm going to go in there one more time. And because now I'm starting to feel a little better. I'm starting to feel a positive effect. But listen, we got so much to cover here.
Yeah, I see all your notes here.
Oh, and Professor Moreno, you have places to go after your
I do.
go educate our young people. You want to talk about that, or is that
not whatsoever?
Okay. Can I attend? Can I be in the back of the room someday?
Yes.
Somewhere along the line, you got to tell folks what you do, because that is a real honor.
It really
what
is.
you're doing. I mean,
it really is. When you let me put the audio machine when you're getting the massage in there, and to hear you just scream, and we can play that audio, I'll be more than happy to let you sit in the back.
I'd sound like Chewy. Like, we got Chewy. Let me put Chewy on. Here's how I sounded. Here's how I would have sounded if I would have said something during my massage here. That's me during the massage, not Chewy. Sounds a lot like Chewy.
It does.
She had me recorded. Yeah. Okay. The FBI. Okay, I'm going to probably surprise some folks. Hopefully I don't, with my take on this fellow who was taken down by the FBI for threatening the President of the United States. Threatening to kill the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Number one in my book, I don't care. People know what I feel if you watch this show at all or listen to the show. I am not a fan of Joe Biden or his policies. The withdrawal of Afghanistan, I feel, gave great insight not only to his lack of leadership abilities, but his callousness and how he left people behind when our Marines were killed. Just how, you're waiting for the bodies to come back and you're looking at your watch. Just a lot of preponderance of things that make me wonder, does he really feel as deeply for people as he says he does? That's how he and his campaign marketed himself, basically from when he first took office almost 50 years ago when he's 30 years old. But I don't agree with his policies. I wish he was not president. I don't wish him ill health. Sorry, folks on the far forward, I just don't. That's just not my nature. I just wish him to not be president of the United States and also to face justice, what looks like, on a plethora of charges of when he was vice president. I want to see that investigation all the way through. If it exonerates him, so be it. But I don't care if I like a president or not. If you threaten to kill our president, you have crossed the line, buddy.
Amen.
You have crossed the line. Now, you back that up with having the means to do it. Okay, you're the kind of man that would do it, obviously. You post it for the world to see. And then you have a bunch of guns at your disposal. And then you post online that you hear the president's coming your way, so I'm getting ready to take him down. I'm sorry, if you're the FBI and you show up to the house like they did, sometimes it's appropriate to have an itchy trigger finger. What's your thought?
Without a doubt. And this goes beyond political parties. And not only the president, but any of our officials. And we got a lot of top officials that know a lot of things. And any type of threat to them, like I said, irrespective of who they are, what political party preference they are, I expect them to be protected to the utmost. And same thing for Americans. Just and
if you make those comments.
Oh, yeah.
And here's another thing. I don't want to veer off on, but it's connected. Number one, I knew we were going to agree on this. There's talk shows that get personal, really vicious towards criticizing Biden. We don't participate in just useless name calling about his age or whatever. We'll make a few jokes about it. But it's more about his policies, his lack of leadership, his what appears to be a chronic habit to lie. He's had to leave like 3 presidential campaigns because of his lying. But if you go on to social media and hear what I was thinking the other day, they want to ban this type of post on social media, right?
Like I want to harm the president of the United States.
They want to take that down. They don't want that posted.
I agree with that.
Well, I did too, except that was how they caught him. If you have people that say that don't post that are really serious and want to kill the president,
mm-hmm.
and those are the ones that are devious, like the 9/11 hijackers. Very devious, very smart.
They wouldn't have posted if we had it up by then.
Because two types of people, I think, usually assassinate leaders or kill people in general.
Yeah.
There are people full of hate or people that are imbalanced, crazy.
Agreed.
This guy was crazy to post. Well, crazy people shoot people. I mean, this kid that in Nashville, the trans individual, had a manifesto posted. And unfortunately, he was not approached. He was not dealt with preemptively. He winds up killing a lot of people. So I don't know. It's kind of a catch-22. They were able to know who this guy was, know a lot about him through his social media post. So should you really take those things down when it's part of what helps you catch them? Something to ponder, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really is, yeah.
No, and again, I had that same reaction sitting in my living room when this thought hit me after they were going through. I was watching the news reports, and they said how much they depended on his social media posts, on Facebook in particular, to catch the guy. And I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe we're viewing this thing a little bit off. We need to analyze this a little bit more. I mean,
I think you got to do it, not for that purpose, but we can't have on Twitter or Facebook a bunch of people saying, all right, I'm going to go get this guy. I mean, imagine, I think it'd freak everybody out. I mean, it would be like, whoa, there's so much illegality going on. So I think you do have to shut it down. I think it's a great source of information. What if there was a way, an algorithm that wouldn't necessarily...
An algorithm?
Yeah.
You don't have any rhythm.
Al Gore does not have any rhythm. He did invent the internet, though, remember. It would be great if the person posts something like that, believes that they're posting. If they could shadow ban your political thought, why not shadow ban something like that? So not everybody sees it, but you think it's out.
Listen, I'm a hardcore law and order guy.
Free speech.
Yeah, free speech and law and order guy. But I also I have a philosophy that there's certain lines you don't cross. You can make your taste for a politician or an individual online. It's a social media, a public forum. I believe in that. It should be maintained. Okay. But here's where I depart. This is where I depart from some prevailing opinion that's out there, even amongst conservative brethren of mine. I believe life sentences should be handed out under the right circumstances for attempted murder. If you attempt to kill somebody and just because they don't physically die on the spot, it's attempted murder, so your sentence is less. I mean, you shoot James Brady in the head and he's basically a vegetable the rest of his life, and you get a reduced sentence because he didn't actually die. That makes no sense to me. Attempted murder just means you missed. Okay? Now, I'm like that with threats to kill someone. If you threaten on social media to kill someone else, another human being, or commit an act of violence, blowing up a bomb or whatever, that could result in someone being killed, I do not believe in 3 strikes, you're out. I don't believe in 3 posts, then they're going to deal with you. 1 strike, and the FBI should be at your door. You should do time for that. Well, Alan, that's hardcore. That's free speech. No, it's not. There's something fundamentally out of whack with your freaking brain and your soul to get online and threaten somebody's life, whether it be the president of the United States, an ex-husband, an ex-wife, somebody. I don't care who it is. When you threaten to kill somebody, you've crossed the line. You should be arrested, and you should do some significant time. What should that be? I'm going to tell you right off the bat, put it on the table, a year. No question, a year. They can track that post back to you. You get a year in jail. Now, I do believe you should be let out to go work the chain gangs, pick up the trash off the freeways.
They have those anymore.
No, they don't. That's a shame.
That is a shame.
But what's your thoughts? I mean, that is something that, to me, if your neighbor came over to you and said, Guillermo Moreno, I'm going to kill you and your family. They posted on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You say, yeah, we're going to wait and see if he posts it again. I don't really believe he's going to do it. Let me tell you one thing. First thing I do, I go get a gun if I don't have one in the house.
Yeah, if I felt like it was a credible threat, absolutely.
And I tell you another thing. He comes over with a gun, and I see him, the first foot on my property, he's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a wife, a beautiful wife to protect.
I do.
But I don't want to put words in your mouth. What's your thoughts on this? Am I just way off base? Am I just some wacko, hardcore Nazi white dude out raging against them?
Here's the other aspect of that. If you do that, who's going to be the arbiter of that's a threat or not?
I'm saying if you clearly say, I'm going to kill you, like this guy said, I'm going to kill Joe Biden.
Okay, what about
I've got
this?
the guns.
I'm going to stab you.
Year.
Okay.
1 year.
I'm
Prison.
going to hurt you so bad because I don't like you.
You'd have to. I'd give him another strike on that. What do you mean by hurt? Like another post?
I will cause great bodily injury or harm to you.
1 year.
I'm going to slap you.
No.
Okay.
No, not quite that far.
So someone's got to be an arbiter of this.
Well, the arbiter is called Mr. Sense, first name common.
Oh, because we got a lot of that going around.
No, but you're starting to see. Ask Eric Adams if he thinks the same thing about asylum seekers.
Now.
Then,
so here's my issue with that. I look at Donald Trump's speech during January 6th. Mm-hmm. Would you say?
No, go fight like hell. No. Because every candidate ever said you got to fight for what you believe in.
But in this America, you could envision under this rule, we'll call it the Autry law.
Let me
Donald Trump would be.
No.
There's
a clear difference. No, there's a clear difference. No, yeah, I think there's, pardon the pun, trumped up causes. But let me tell you something. Not having been there, although I look old enough to have been around during the Revolutionary time, I guarantee you, in the Old West. Go even further back, Civil War days, Revolutionary days. I'm just making an assumption. If you made the statement to Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to shoot you in the head tomorrow. Either Jefferson himself or one of Jefferson's people would take you out before the sun rose the next day.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to sit there like sitting ducks and let somebody, because the philosophy was, if you're crazy enough to say that to me, you're crazy enough to do it. And he would not have gotten convicted at all. I mean, when you say that, you have to assume that they mean it. When somebody, you got to make assumptions. And those assumptions, depending on what the threat is, have to be pretty severe at times. If I hear somebody beating on my door and they're saying, I'm going to come in there and kill all of you, now, he just might be somebody who's having a bad day, mental health day, unarmed, and maybe I could take him out with one hand. But I got to assume, no, if that door comes down, I'm going to call the police, but he makes it into my home, I'm going to put 7 or 8 bullets in him if I can before he hits the ground.
Yeah.
Because I've got grandkids and a wife to protect. I can't assume that he doesn't mean what he's saying because his actions are matching his words. He's invaded my home, beaten on the door, saying I'm going to kill you. So I hesitate, and he comes through there in that moment of hesitation. I don't have my wife to come home to anymore. My kids are hurt.
I told you where you're coming from. It's essentially what the FBI did in this case.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know what the circumstances were, but he has a gun there. Now, if he peacefully was given up, but if you believe the reports, and who wouldn't believe the FBI?
No, man, yeah.
Because of this guy's post, he had pictures of the weapons, and anyway, he also know that I've had a lot of problems with how the FBI conducts themselves and how politicized and weaponized they've become under this administration. That even having said that, they took action. I'm glad they took action. And this guy, I wish he could have been taken in peacefully and got the help that he needed, went to prison, what have you. To me, more than a year. Threatened to kill the President of the United States. Not the President of the United States' life is worth any more than any of ours.
Yeah,
but
true.
that's just super, super crazy. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about this Stockton situation because I think it could be a game changer where the 7-Eleven owner he decided that, you know what, this take $900 of merchandise and nothing's going to happen to you thing just was not going to be something he could agree with. And he took matters in his own hand in the form of a big old cane. And anyway, an interesting development in that case. And we're going to talk about it when we come right back. 36 people dead.
Yeah, so sad.
In Maui. Holy moly. See that guy Burgum up there?
I have no idea.
I didn't either. I think he's out of Iowa.
Is mine?
Right? No. I tell you, here you go. You judge a book by its cover. Doing it again. I'm looking at him.
I'm going to judge him. I don't think he's got a shot.
He may not have a shot, but the guy is impressive as could be. Guillermo, this guy, I think, would be a fine president. He was the governor of either Iowa or South Dakota. I think it's South Dakota.
Where's that at?
You know, the internet's sitting right there. All we have to do is do this. Oh, my God. Okay. Who is the governor of South Dakota? That's Christy. No. Who is the governor of North Dakota? That's him. Got the Dakotas mixed up. Doug Burgum. I tell you, I saw him on TV for a full half-hour interview. As impressive a candidate as you would want to find. Level-headed, articulate, can finance his own campaign. Oh, man, I got some news on that. Credit card on. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about your inflation. There's no inflation.
None.
We're going to get that Stockton DA. How much time we have? How many segments?
Ready? Hit it. We got what, like under 20 minutes?
All right, let's hit the Stockton thing.
17.
17 minutes. Let's get little snippets.
All right, here we go.
Tiny little morsels.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
Okay, welcome back to the show, Thunderous Thursday. Our hearts and prayers go out to all the people in Hawaii. 36 people dead and counting. My goodness, over there. What a bizarre, surreal catastrophe, Guillermo. I mean, the entire island of Maui just on fire. People jumping in the ocean. I mean, that's stuff out of bad Hollywood movies. And it's happening before our eyes. But, you know, it's where a hurricane and a fire mix, and that's not a good mixture. But, again, we just pray for all the folks in Hawaii. Beautiful place. Beautiful people.
I've never been.
I've been 3 times, and we played football at University of Pacific. We would go over to Hawaii every other year there. Just wonderful, wonderful people. Just loving, caring people. Gentle people. Now, get on the wrong side. You don't want to get on the wrong side of the Hawaiian Mafia. I have a story about the Hawaiian Mafia that involved our football game. It's in my book. I'm revealing every single thing in my book.
No one's going to buy it because you're telling the whole book.
Well, our audience is not that big. I don't mind telling Autry's Army. By the way, we're going to have a special thing where you can order early. You get a signed picture, a signed copy. It's a nice little package that I'm putting together just for Autry's Army.
I like it.
In Stockton, California, my old stomping grounds, that's where the University of Pacific is. Went there 5 years.
I did not know that.
Football. Yes, I did.
In Stockton.
And it's that's close to Northern California, closer to San Francisco than we are.
Yes.
We would drive over to San Francisco quite often. And, you know, you would think that the liberal winds, the liberal secondhand smoke would drift over to Stockton, right? Wrong. It is a conservative, very conservative, hardworking farming town by and large. It's right by the Delta, so it's just a beautiful town. Why it hasn't been able to take off economically better than it has, I don't know. I've got some ideas, but it's just a wonderful place. But they're very conservative by nature. And if you saw the video that's gone viral, this shoplifter decided he was just going to go in and hit this 7-Eleven. I guess it was for the 3rd time. And the owner had enough. And there was a guy filming this incident as he was going out. Now, one of the security folks tried to stop him. He started loud talking that security guy, like, they get out of the way, whatever. And there was reports that in the earlier attempts he had brought a gun. That's all going to be sorted out in court. Of course, this thing went to court, right? But out comes this guy in a turban with a cane from the left of the screen and proceeds to open up a can of whoop ass on this guy, the likes of which you have never seen. I mean, this guy was rearing back, the guy with the turban coming down, but nothing above the waist. Hitting his leg, smart guy, didn't go. And he would rear back, and he was probably talking to him the whole time.
Oh, he's yelling.
Third time you come into my place, whap, whap. Like my mom used to take out the belt with me. You sass me, whap, whap. And he's going, and every time he's going forward, he's laying in there because his pants are coming down a little bit each time. The guy who's swinging the cane. So you see a little bit more butt crack each time. That thing is coming down. And he stops, okay, and the guy, the robber, kind of takes a deep breath. You could see right off the bat, his mind changed, his attitude changed, saying, I am never coming in here again. Here's the kicker. I know the president got to say, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But here's the kicker. Would you not expect in today's day and time in California, with this guy doing what he did, with the thief coming in, taking his $900, whatever, the store owner coming out, just whipping the dickens out of him, even though there was nothing above the waist, would you not automatically think, here he is, the DA is going to charge the store owner? Correct?
Yeah, I would hope.
What?
Not.
I would hope a liberal, far woke liberal would say. Not. No. You would say he would be under pressure, or she, whoever the DA is.
Yeah.
No. At least right now, he's not charging the store owner.
Good.
And he's charging the thief, which is, I guess, is reflective of the times we're in. Why in the world is that astonishing? That a guy who comes in and robbed the place 3 times the store owner takes out a cane and apprehends him, and they're going to charge the thief and not the store owner. Why are we surprised at that? Why are we just aghast? What? It's a miracle. You mean the criminal is going to get charged and not the innocent business owner? And why am I suddenly talking like Dan Bongino? Now I understand why Dan Bongino talks like that. He gets triggered by it. But isn't that refreshing?
It is very refreshing, especially in the day and age that we live in, because the guy did beat the living tar out of him.
Now
That's a battery.
Now let me tell you how far I go with this. I'm not only happy for that store owner. People think I'm like, oh, that guy, the thief. Do you know what that thief probably went through in life? Probably didn't have a father around. Probably on drugs. Absolutely, I have empathy for that person. That beating could have. You ever looked at it this way? That beating may have saved his life. Because somebody out on the streets, if not as a store owner or someplace, is going to take out a gun. Because this guy, obviously, under the influence, you go in. This could be the whooping that saved his life. Do you ever stop and think about that? Perhaps that's the case, because they were talking to him afterwards, the guy who stopped him, the security guard, and the guy in the turban. And they were having a conversation. You could see it if you watch. They have the whole video online. And you're looking at the guy going, he's different. And he's different for the better. He didn't get away with that. And so, yeah, I care for that individual. But here's, if you make me make a choice between a lawbreaker who has a bad upbringing, which we all are sad about, and protecting the life and the property of someone who follows a citizen who is a law-abiding citizen, I've got to pick the law-abiding citizen. Don't make me make that choice, because I'm going with the law-abiding citizen every time, even though the story of the criminal may be sad and horrible. When you decide to break the law like that, you have to. Society has to pick the side of the law-abiding citizen while we work to help address the situation that criminal. I have a saying: a gang member becomes a gang member long before they're a gang member. They're the way they're brought up in years 1 through 5 and all that stuff. So anyway, I thought that was really
refreshing.
Yeah. But you know what? It's not over yet. I keep waiting each day. Well, the DA changed his mind. He or she got pressured, and now they're going to Because he's under pressure,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure Gavin will be calling real soon.
Oh, gosh.
Because
it could start a very dangerous trend, People standing up protecting their businesses, which
Yeah.
would be horrible for the state.
Horrible. We don't want people
If
taking the matters into their own hands.
Well, you don't want criminals being punished in the state of California. I mean, the state to go all to hell. Yeah. So he's got to have to pay the price for that. Okay, man, the world we live in, we just knew it was a matter of time. Ecuador. Tell folks what happened there. You just saw the headline.
Yeah, a candidate was assassinated on Tuesday.
Fernando
Villavicencio. Villavicencio.
Yeah. Well, he was running on an anti-corruption, anti-drugs. He gave his speech at the campaign, got in the car, and that's when multiple shots rang out. And then the outgoing president, Guillermo Lasso, announced that he had been, that the candidate had been shot and killed. Sadly, I don't think that's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
The world is just so these cartels, they've got control of things, and
they control the government in some places.
And if they feel a threat is there, they're going to try to take that threat out.
Yeah.
And when you see, I don't know if you saw these pictures yesterday, that they have the Border Patrol of armed cartel members coming across the border into the United States. Pictures with the AR-15s coming in. And you think that the cartel isn't doing everything they can to create strongholds and strengthen their strongholds in the United States of America, you're kidding. They're going to make as much hay out of this Bidenomics catastrophe, which includes an open border. If people ask what is Bidenomics, well, part of the platform of Bidenomics is an open border. And what do you think about Boston? You saw the governor of Massachusetts declare a state of emergency. Do you think, in a very, very blue state, did the asylum-seeking con game, which is if you're sincerely running from your life, come into America, okay. But stats have proven, and they know, the intelligence has shown, the vast, vast majority are not running for their life. They're running to a better life, and they want to get on the social programs here. Who wouldn't? When you're living in a hut with no running water, you got 3 kids, in the hot baking sun, would you not want to come to a country that gives you a lot of free stuff and keeps you alive? I mean, I get it. It's just that we can't afford that many people. But do you think that this acknowledgement by blue cities, and in the case of Massachusetts, an entire blue state declaring a state of emergency, saying, look, we can't handle this many illegal immigrants. We can't afford it. They've already said $12.5 billion just to provide services. What's this for 3 years with the ones that are here? I think that's low. New York alone, $1.6 billion to take care of the amount that are there now, the 100,000 that are now, for just 3 years. How do you afford that? And my question to you, do you think the left, led by New York City, the only better city to come forth to get the attention on this issue to the woke left would be San Francisco, but let's take New York. Mm-hmm. The mayor acknowledging it's out of control, telling Biden your border's out of control, you have to fix it, and the governor of Massachusetts declaring a state of emergency. Could the tide be turning to common sense, saying we have to secure this border and get our arms around this problem?
No. If Abbott, DeSantis keep up the pressure and keep doing this, maybe. But if you have those 2 governors stop essentially offering rides to these other states, it's not going to put the pressure on them. It won't make the left in mass change their mind. You start sending individuals to Michigan. You start sending them to other strongholds, Washington.
But they won't. Because you're sending it to another blue state.
Well, no, I'm saying if they were to send them to, basically, you need a lot of Democratic leaders to feel the pressure, not just Massachusetts or New York. So they need.
But my question is, could this be the beginning of that?
Yes.
I think when you heretofore to go out as a governor of Massachusetts and the mayor of New York to acknowledge anything that has been a basic Republican tenet, which is a secure border, that mass illegal immigration is destroying our cities and our country. Just to agree with that was something that you just did not do.
Let's go further. Do you think it's
because they equate it with agreeing with Trump.
Yeah. Well, let me take it a step further. You're saying it's the mayor of New York and Massachusetts governor. Do you think that's what they truly believe, or do you think they've been pressured so much they're seeing voters on the left? So there's one thing to say that the leaders think this way. How many people of their own constituent of their own party? Because we know the right has been saying it forever. But how many of those are changing their minds because they know their voters are just they're fed up? So this goes even, I think, a step deeper.
See, I have a firm belief in common sense.
You are.
I think that thread runs through even the most woke of the woke.
But maybe they won't say it.
Now, there's some out there that believe, that in Sasquatch and believe that Elvis is still alive. And, there's
aliens among us.
Yes, aliens among us. But I think most of these blue state governors and blue city mayors already knew it was a very important issue that cities and states in this country as a whole could not afford this mass influx. But conservatively, 17.5 million people that we don't know who they are, that are not citizens, that just come over the border. Hundreds of thousands now, it seems like every day. You're talking about 8.7 million by the end of Biden's first term. Now, if he's second term, if he's reelected, you're talking about another 16 million coming in. They're going to these blue cities. Why? Because they got to make a change. They got to make a decision. Believe it or not, on these phones, probably every one of those immigrants have a list of all of the sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. You're thinking they all came to Texas and said, we want to stay in Laredo. No, they come here. They want to go to New York. So you're saying, prior to this, they've kind of abandoned it, thank goodness, because it was silly. They would say, you're shipping them here. They actually want to stay in Juarez and bake in the sun and get, $300 a month. Where they can come to New York, get housing, get $1,500 a month for food stamps and free health care and all that stuff. No, they're requesting to go there because they feel welcome there to come in. And so how do you deal with that? You either say, hey, we're no longer a sanctuary city. And when they're around their little woke advisors, well, you can't do that. Why? Because that's agreeing with Trump. It's an election year. But what happened? And Adam is going, but wait a minute. And he admitted it last night in the interview. He was able to hide the number of asylum seekers for almost a year in housing. But all the housing filled up. And so they spilled out on the streets out at Union Square. So had thousands sleeping out on the streets. And that's even when the local media, New York Times, went, what the heck's going on? And then when they ask him, they go, well, we got no place for them. What? You mean you had tens of thousands that were here already? And he says, yeah, I got no place to put them. And then they're coming in every single day, more and more, going out to Rikers Island, going out to the soccer fields. I mean, there's very limited space for kids in New York to play anyway. And now you're going to take these soccer fields and baseball fields away from them so you can put people who shouldn't be here legally. Bless their hearts, the folks that are here legally. But you got to get control of this. And I do think that, you don't get much bluer than Boston. Yeah. You get some strong conservatives there. And I mean, that's the home of Ted Kennedy. That's the home of it has a whole history of liberalism. For, Massachusetts and Boston to say, hold on, we've got to do something. I think they've been forced to do this. But again, in answer to your question, I think they knew all along. They knew it was an issue. I think everyone who said we have to stop hiring police, get rid of police, and start funding social workers to go out and handle violent situations and let the social worker talk the crazy out of his mind, out of control criminal to lay his gun down. I think they all knew that was crazy fantasy, but that was the pressure being put on them by this woke far left. And they're going to have to declare their independence from that segment of their party, keep them in the fold, find out some way to keep them coming to the polls. I think you'd get them, because even if you made the right decisions on this issue and public safety, they're not going to go out and vote for Trump or DeSantis. They'll hold their nose and say, yeah, voting for Biden's the lesser of two evils. You're not going to lose them. There's no place for them to go, although they may stay home.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Maybe not.
This is Alan Autry, Guillermo Moreno. God bless and love you. Just remember, do your best. Let God do the rest. And we'll see you tomorrow on Free for All Friday. Bye-bye now.
Till then.